Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Anime Club. I'm NikNak. With me is the great Lord Vorn.
Hello, everyone. We're at week 10 of quarantine, I think.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah, somewhere.
Realm Shifter.
Oh, God. All right, continue.
And Seki.
She's doing the head knob.
All right, well,
Oh, my.
this week, if I can finally speak, no spite
Rejection.
whatsoever, we watched Demon Slayer episodes 1 through 13.
God, I love this show.
Yay.
All right, everyone, do we want to open with our spoiler-free thoughts here?
The fucking art style is goddamn gorgeous.
We get there when we get there, Realm.
That's spoiler territory right there, boy.
Not really. Go
All right,
ahead.
not really.
Realm, you go first.
Okay. It's monster of the week, like a lot of shonen, but I think to explain. Okay, you know what? No, please just move on from me because I feel like I'm just already moving into theming and story pacing. So just skip me, please, so I
He
can start
likes it.
rambling.
In some, he likes it.
He
so
likes
Realm
it.
Can't speak on it without spoiling it.
Yeah.
Got it.
So please, just move along. Give everyone else your spoiler-free thoughts.
Vorn, how about you? I know you had thoughts.
My suspicions were correct. You will find out later what this means.
Okay.
That's not helpful in a spoiler-free review at all.
That was his spoiler-free opinion.
Yeah.
Yes, this is behind-the-scenes stuff.
Ugh.
Fine. No, here. Didn't hate it. Didn't like it. It's the middle ground. You figure
Okay.
out the rest.
All right,
All
then.
right, Seki. Please tell me you have a more in-depth spoiler-free review than the other two.
I liked it. I liked it enough that I'll finish it tonight. I did have some issues with it, mainly with the art style,
Oof.
but I liked the show, and it reminded me a lot of Rurouni Kenshin, which is a show that I really love. And I had, for the longest time, not watched past episode 1 of Demon Slayer because I was just like, ugh, modern shonen, ugh.
Modern art style.
I think. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was about to start explaining more stuff, but we'll get there when we get
We'll
there.
get there when we get there. I can
Yeah.
have my opinion.
I know. I was just. I already want to just get into the meat of it because I've got a lot to say. In case you
Well,
can't tell.
I have a lot to say about the art style, so.
Okay.
since
so
Realm
we'll get
wants to
there
go,
later.
let's go.
I haven't given my thoughts.
Get.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't
gotta
put
give
narrator
NikNak.
kun.
Narrator Kun is very.
You serve
all
only to
important.
further our plots.
You can cuss, remember?
I
Yeah.
said so. I said so. Fuck you.
Yes.
I love this show. I have some major issues around the beginning, I think, but outside of that, like, Studio Ufotable is probably my favorite animation studio right now in animation form, but we'll get there when we get there. Yeah, so let's move on to animation, music, art, and OPED. Do we want to start with the OP?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what, Seki, I'll let you go because I'm gonna ramble for a while.
Yeah. So, okay. I mean, NikNak made me watch this a while back, the first episode. Well, he didn't make me. I
You actually wanted
agreed
to watch that, and
Yeah.
then you just stopped there.
Yeah, and I don't particularly like the OP song. I don't mind it once it gets past the first 10 or 15 seconds, but I don't like that beginning bit. I more like the middle and end. And there are certain parts of the... So, on the whole, I don't have a problem with the animation in the OP or the series, but there is one specific problem I have with it that does show up in the OP, and that's that for certain female characters, their hair looks like the animators just took flat 2D ribbons and made their head out of ribbons, and they're just flapping as like flat 2D pieces of like seaweed or whatever in the breeze. But then some of the girls have like well done identifiable hair, whereas like Nezuko, she has like the ribbon effect is what I call it, when it just looks like a flat like line that's like a sheet waving constantly. Like hair doesn't behave like that, and it looks really fucking weird. Like it looks like she has a seaweed monster on her head.
Okay, you say that, but there are a billion types of hair out there.
Yeah, but that's not like the hair doesn't naturally fall into flat ribbons
Well, of
in
course
any
not.
hair unless you're, disgusting.
Unless you're styling it in some weird ass way.
Yeah, so I mean, and I get that was probably an animation thing as to the way the author drew it. It just really bothers me.
I feel like it's meant to separate the Nezuko we first saw in the episode before she was a demon to the one that we know is now a demon. I feel like that's to distinguish it. It's a distinguishing choice.
But it happens to other characters who have a similar hairstyle. It's the girls that all have like long hair that's slightly wavy. They have the ribbon effect sometimes. It's not just her. And it doesn't show up when women have their hair in like a bun or it's shorter.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking it's probably an art thing on the part of the author, because this does seem like an anime that's not it does have its own style. It's not using the cookie cutter anime look for the season, which I approve of. I really do, and I like the majority of the animation. But another example of the weird flat ribbon thing is
Zenitsu.
Zenitsu.
Oh yeah, he does have that as well, but in like a weirder way. I do remember that now.
And it's the same thing at the ends of Nezuko's hair. It's not a problem like up here, but at the ends, and it just behaves weird.
Okay, I think I know what you mean now.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. I feel like it's actually kind of almost weird. It's more like with the way it like moves the way it does, I guess you could say, is it's like almost like a jellyfish. It's almost like looking at a jellyfish.
That's it. Like it's like dreadlocks or a jellyfish if they were completely flat and 2D ribbons.
Like with the OP part, when you brought it up in the context of the OP, I assume you mean that scene in the OP where her hair kind of falls down and you can see her hair's movement.
Yeah. Okay, and I get that that's like a minor thing, but I mean that's two major characters that have it, and it does bother me a lot because a lot of the other female characters show that there is more, naturally kind of not weird looking animated hair.
Well, there's a heavy amount of stylization to this, I think. Like, if moving beyond the hair, look at the eyes on some of the female characters.
There is, but it's like a different type. Because it's not specifically female characters either. Like when I think of the stylization, like his concentration water thing.
Oh, his
that
water.
That literally looks like it's that Japanese the wave painting.
I love that effect.
I think that's really amazing. I think it looks so cool. But that's a stylistic choice as opposed to this weird thing that a few characters have that really bugs me and kind of pulls me out of like what I'm seeing with this like weird flat jellyfish tentacle hair.
And it's not like you can just suspend your disbelief for it. It's because it's like something that's just kind of like ingrained into the show, really.
Yeah, and I think my main problem is that if it was just Nezuko, for example, I wouldn't have an issue with it. Or if it was just men or just women, there could have been a reason. But because it's a man and a woman and some background characters that you see occasionally have the same effect, and there's no like explanation for it, but there are women and men with more naturally animated and drawn hair. It just looks a little weird.
So you just don't like the stylistic choice on this part mainly?
Yeah, but I will say, so I know this anime, like we were talking about the wave thing, right? That thing does. And I think you two have mentioned it before. Is they're using what, like 3D or something?
Yeah, they're using
They mix
3D.
3D and 2D for this. Yeah.
Like especially
Yeah.
in like a great example of where they use a lot of 2D and 3D effects all at once is in when they're in the Oni house where the Oni with the drums.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tanjiro starts rolling around.
I
in the
love that
house.
scene animation wise where it's like flipping the house and he's moving between the layers on the 3D.
Yeah. Whereas in the manga, that was just drawn pretty simply of Tanjiro in like one tiny one-off panel where it was just an arrow showing him flying in which direction he was going.
Yeah, so like that's something that like normally I don't like 3D in anime, but I think it was done really well
I think
in
it was
this
because
anime.
Ufotable has like Voron can attest to this with other anime. Studio Ufotable is probably the only studio off the top of my head that really has that 3D 2D merging down.
Oh yeah,
to a
most
science.
definitely.
And I think it's because they know when and where to use it, and like where it looks bad and where it looks good.
They're so good because they're actually, before they did TV anime, they were mostly a an anime film company.
Yeah,
So they have a lot of
all the
experience working with that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it was really impressive because normally I don't like the 3D elements. To me, they seem like jarring sometimes when you try to
99%.
like throw them in. And I actually, NikNak can attest that when I watched the first episode, I actually didn't like some of the 3D effects in the first episode. They bothered me a little bit, especially in the forest.
Yeah.
They were just a little weird, but seeing more of them made it a lot more tolerable as I got used to the show. And I think that whole like the wave painting kind of like stylistic movements, I actually loved that. Because I do actually like really stylized anime, and manga especially I think look really cool when they're super stylized and like unique.
Mm-hmm. Like the manga is still unique. It's just it misses the animation aspect of the anime, really.
But I'm fairly certain. So I've not looked at the manga, but I would assume that the manga uses some of the same stylistic things. Like I would assume that they do something similar to like the Wave Blade.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, no, that's there.
Yeah, so to me, that's like a really cool use of stylization in the anime and the manga.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of cut it off a little, but on the OP front, did you have any thoughts on that realm? I know you have thoughts on that. That's why I'm asking.
I love this mainly. I love the song. Like it's such a great pick for it. Like I get why Seki, you don't like the opening as much because, like you said, it's kind of slow. It takes a minute, but I like that little crescendo upwards to the main
it's like
chorus of the song.
Build up and a payoff.
Yeah, because it's just the story of like Tanjiro's journey, really. In like at least because I looked up a translation of it, and that roughly like translates to his journey on to find a cure for his sister Nezuko.
Well, and I don't in any way think it's a bad song. I think it's actually a fantastic song. It's just not my style, you know. Right. I prefer stuff that's a little bit more on the like leaning towards J-pop.
Yeah. And I think that was mainly the mix because this is because again this is actually the same singer as for like Sword Art Online, like the first OP from the original, like,
which I actually kind of like.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like this singer a lot as well.
Yeah,
I like my favorite OP of all time was done by this singer. So yeah, I love this song. It's almost a given at this point.
I did catch the ED a few times, and I don't think I was particularly impressed. Like it didn't make an impression, but I know I watched it for at least half of the episodes. Because I had my computer set to autoplay, and it played the ending song. So I remember it, but not well, which means it was kind of catchy, but not catchy enough.
I never really listened to the ending, so I don't really know what it's like. I just kept skipping them, and they didn't really particularly appeal to me. But maybe I'll just like look at the ending. But like what I saw of it, like the ending animation didn't seem like too special. It was just like a lot of stills.
So the ending song, I will heavily admit, I would not like it if it weren't for the fact of me shilling for Yuki Kajira at every given opportunity. So as soon as that ending comes on, that opening, like, that is a leitmotif that Yuki Kajira uses in so many of her songs, and it's really, really, really good in most of the songs it's used in. So that's why it's a little bit more memorable for me here, I think.
I mean, I'm not saying that like I completely forgot it, like, because I mean, obviously it was memorable enough that I remember that it was there and that I didn't hate it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you asked me to like hum the first few lines or like remember any part of it, I can't, like, genuinely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you guys for not remembering part of it. Legit, the only reason I remember it is other soundtracks.
Yeah.
And
which kind of makes it not. Yeah, which kind of makes it not a remarkable opening, really, in any way on its own. Ending, sorry. See, so it's not really remarkable in any way on its own. It's not incredibly well done.
What it is, it's just 99% of EDs are not going to be that very memorable OP song.
No.
Yeah.
And as an ED, I think it works really well.
Yeah.
There's like one ED I can name off the top of my head that has that same memorability factor as the OP.
Chica Dance?
No, that's a little bit of a different case. Yojo Senki.
Oh, yeah.
But this is, however, the thing with it is it's like both of the Yojo Senki songs, OP and ending, both have like a severe amount of energy to them. So
yeah, and you don't normally get that with EDs. It's very unique to Yojo Senki, and I think that's why 90% of the time when we comment on the ED, it's not going to be the singing praise we tend to give a lot of OPs.
Yeah. I mean, with that being said, I didn't hate the opening. I just wouldn't necessarily seek it out on my own. But I also wouldn't skip it if it autoplayed.
I recommend the full version. It definitely lingers on the faster moments a lot longer.
I might have to check that out then.
So once again, I'm going to show Yuki Kajira. The insert music of this is like, I especially love it because it's Yuki Kajira, but it's not the usual Yuki Kajira. It's Yuki Kajira, and I believe she worked with another composer on this series, because there's also you can hear not just Yuki Kajira, but that Japanese like instruments as well as the more opera.
So you mean like the soundtrack, the like background music?
Yeah.
The OSTs.
Not gonna lie, none of them really stuck in my head. I don't actually remember there being music, and I don't remember anything. Like,
I do remember there being music, but I more so just remember it like adding to the tension or like the mood of the scene, really.
Which honestly, I mean, like I said, in no way did any of the music really stand out to me.
Yeah,
I don't remember any of it particularly.
Yeah, just not memorable at all for me as well.
So, I think that's about all we have to say. So
I mean, hang on. I mean, in terms of animation, because animation. And music.
Right. Right. Okay, so we're moving on from OP to the animation, like in general or whatever. Or are we?
I don't know. I mean, we already covered a little bit of it, but like, I like the diversity of the animation. I like the diversity of the character designs.
Yeah.
Right. So outside of like the weird tentacle hair, but there's like a variety of eye types, which is fairly unusual for a lot of manga artists, especially. They tend to draw like one or two eye types, which are usually determined by like gender or general way that the person acts. I mean, the other episode that we'll be recording soon is on Prince of Tennis, and you'll notice that in Prince of Tennis there is like a single eye type that everyone possesses. But I like the uniqueness of a lot of the character designs. I didn't see a whole lot of like characters that I would say, oh, that's just a main character, but they swapped his hair color, swapped his jacket color, and stuck him in the background and took away a few details.
Right.
And for easy animation.
And it makes for great off-modeling comedy scenes.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because that's another thing. So far, all the demons we've seen have been really unique, which is not generally the norm for villains in shonens. They do tend to a lot of shonens tend to have villains that follow the same kind of look.
Hmm.
There's a dedicated look for the way the
Right.
villains look. I use Dragon Ball as an example, but every man in Dragon Ball looks exactly the same. They just change the skin color.
Hmm.
So, but I mean, like, even if you look at like Naruto or One Piece, there's a kind of a general like vibe or look that goes with a lot of the villains.
Right.
Okay, I couldn't describe the villains One Piece. You just said One Piece, and I was thinking characters. What?
Well, you haven't seen a ton of villains in One Piece yet.
I just know the characters are like every shape under the sun.
I'm sorry.
Okay. I mean, I will say that there is actual like there. One Piece is pretty homogenous in character design. He has like 4 or 5 designs that he kind of repurposes for everyone. But I don't see a lot of that here, and I like that.
Yeah, Segment, I kind of have to slightly disagree with you on the demon design. Like, some of them, like, really not technically important demons that you see, they are slightly, like, tiny bits are reused again and again.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily that it's reused. I think lower level demons don't necessarily look all that different, but there's always something that makes them look different from the other demons.
Well, that's because the lower level demons are still large. Like they haven't lost as much of their humanity by consuming as much blood. That's the in lore
Yeah.
reason for it. That's why
Yeah.
you have them, and then you have the freaky hand demon guy.
Yeah, but even when you're looking at like the background humans in like a crowd, there's a fair bit of variation in coloring, faces, that kind of thing. It's more effort than a lot of shonens bothered to put in to differentiating background fodder.
Yeah.
And I can say that because I've seen a lot of anime where background fodder is just 10 of the same man in slightly different shades of the same color.
Sometimes if you look hard enough, you can find the main character with different colored hair.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, the character design is very, very diverse for sure. I think you see a little bit of it, the creepy little doll girls from the exam.
Hmm. Oh yeah, I remember.
I love
that.
them.
Oh, yeah,
So
black
adorable.
and white.
But even like among the 5 people that passed the exam, the 4 or 5 people, they were all wildly different in character design.
Mhm.
And in all the high level demons, they're all fairly individual.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rome. It sounded like you were saying something.
I was just gonna say, so out of all the characters that we see in the exams that like actually survive it, we only actually get to see one other one besides Zenitsu, and that's I forget, it was the girl, but I can't remember what her name was because it's been a while since I actually watched that part. And then the other guy, the guy that was like angry and wanted his sword, he does make an appearance, but not until like the end of the season, and you don't even get that much character development from him.
That moves in past our episode count a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So most of these characters don't return anytime soon.
Yeah, except for Zenitsu, and he only
yeah.
returns like a
For the
couple
last arc.
episodes.
For the last arc, and you get to see a bit of him.
Wait,
But
I'm
also,
sorry.
I will say, like, we're talking about the final selection, but the final selection doesn't occur right away. I mean, that's episode like 5 or 6, right?
Yeah, no, it spends
Something
a while.
like that. Yeah. And I actually really like the training arc before that, and I adore one of the plot points from there.
That moves into the fight or into the story.
I know.
Let's talk with Vorn. It's not like Vorn had something to say there.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Was the boar face man, was he part of the?
No. He left.
Okay.
Yeah,
there was one person who got down earlier than the others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was I gonna say? Real quickly before we move on to the story, anyone have a favorite, or 2 things actually? Anyone have a favorite demon design?
Yes.
Just because we're talking about character designs now, and where we do this.
Actually, the Tamari girl.
Okay.
The Bulls. Tamari girl. I actually love her design, and I think it's
Oh,
really cool.
unfortunately, my favorite demon design does not consist from this part of the show that we watched. So, I would have, but if from the episodes that we watched, I would have to say probably the one with the drums, the Oni with the drums. I like that one quite a bit.
I also think Muzan is really cool.
Oh yeah,
Michael
I
Jackson.
think Mike.
What?
He looks like Michael Jackson in his outfit.
He does. Like, come on, you just gotta put them side by side.
Oh, from Smooth Criminal when he's wearing the
Yeah.
white suit. Oh, okay, yeah, I see it.
You see it,
I
right?
see it. I do. Also, he would be the perfect animation to put in front of an AMV of Smooth Criminal.
Yes.
My favorite demon has to be the one with the balls.
That's
Like that.
Yeah.
The
yeah,
Tamari.
Tamari girl.
Yeah,
Tamari girl.
Tamari girl.
and
I
her name
love-
starts with a K, but I don't remember it. I think.
I love that design. Like when she pulls out all 6 of her arms. It's just
Yeah, I think she's really cool.
all right. And then the other thing is, does
Wait,
anyone have a-
Vorn, did you have a favorite
or do you have a
demon?
favorite?
Oh yeah, the master of like all demons, because that's
Muzan.
Muzan.
yeah,
Yeah.
because that's what like I imagine demons look like.
Because he looks.
I like him.
Yeah, Muzan is really.
He turned a woman to slime. I
will get-
like him.
We will
Mhm.
get to his character when we get to characters, I'm sure. There will be a lot of discussion on him. And then other than that, the fight scenes, they're good.
Yeah.
Does
Yeah.
anyone have a particular favorite?
Yes.
For fight scenes.
Within this arc, at least. I know there's
Yes.
one that's one that trended in Twitter, but that's later on.
I have a favorite. And
Alright.
it's actually in his initial training arc when he's training to slice the rock.
Yes, that
Oh.
one was great. I loved that one.
It's a good fight scene.
Partially because it's also the first time that we see his like wave.
Yeah, his
Wave
it's his total concentration water breathing technique.
Yeah. It also leads into like one of my favorite moments of the entire show, like plot wise.
Mhm.
So
My favorite fight scene's probably, I'm kind of torn between the ball girl, I forget what the balls are called,
Tamari.
Yeah, Tamari.
and her partner, because there's the two of them fighting at once.
Arrow Boy.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
fight scene is very dynamic as it switches between perspectives. And or alternatively, there's the aforementioned room flippy.
Oh yes, yes.
All right, Realm, did you have a favorite?
Wait, I already said mine.
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the same
mine
as-
was last.
It's the same. Yeah, it's the same as Sekhmet's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
I-
Vaughn, do you have any?
Yeah, I really don't have a favorite fight scene. I have a favorite end of the fight scene, which is like the end of the arm demon, where like all the children are released.
That's a great one. That's a great transition into story, because I think we have a lot of comments about that part based
Yeah.
off what second
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we want
But
to
I
actually
think
go
we can
next
move
part?
into plot.
yeah.
Yeah.
Plot and theming, starting with our
Storyline,
favorite.
Oh yeah.
Waifu Wars.
Actually, no,
Right.
next is themes and storyline.
Aw,
Yeah,
Well,
we're not
Darn it.
characters
We'll move
yet.
there in a bit.
I was
Well,
excited. All right.
right.
Okay. So I
Does anyone
would
wanna give
like
Does anyone want to give the lecture, or do you want me to give the lecture?
lecture.
I'm joking for the theming.
Oh,
We
I was
always
gonna
have one
say.
person who goes and describes the theming in excruciating detail.
I was gonna say. I just wanted to mention my favorite part of the series.
Go ahead.
Which is specifically during the final selection when he's confronting that demon that's been there for 47 years.
Oh yeah.
Because I think that develops both his character and Mr.
Urokodaki.
Yeah.
Yeah, Urokodaki. And I think it's really cool that they developed Mr. Urokodaki like that, because he had made the comment like, I don't want you to die like those other children, I wasn't going to send you. And I just assumed that when he said that, just assumed that he meant that, like, yeah, I mean, demon slaying is a dangerous, like, profession. Like, people die. It happens. I didn't think he meant that, like,
Everybody.
14 of his students died.
I love how much that
13.
revelation builds up over time. Like, you start out,
Yeah.
you see them, and you could tell there's something unnatural about them.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Up to the point where he cuts the rock in half, and then by the end, like, then he's like, "How did he know the names of those dead children?" And there's just like this brief "oh shit" moment.
Yeah, and
Like, if
at
you
that
didn't,
point when that happened, did that because that actually happened before the selection, and I still hadn't like added like 2 and 2 to get 4. I was coming up with 3, and I just think it was a great moment for all of the characters and for the show as a whole. I think
Yeah,
that perhaps the only moment that rivaled it might have been when he was asking that swamp demon about Muzan, and he
Mhm.
was so terrified. That was maybe
Yeah.
the only
Yeah.
other big intense part that like really stood out to me.
Yeah, that he was that one little demon was like so terrified, like of just his basically his creator.
I
Yeah.
love the humanity they give all of the demons. Like, you get like this, like, you could tell like the character flaw they had that kind of led them to where they are now, just
Mhm.
by looking at them, or like where they were before they became a demon. And it always gets you like, and then Tanjiro is always there.
It
I
makes
love
you
that it makes a
invested.
point out of really characterizing the demons.
Humanizing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're not that
like
different from us.
like
Mhm.
they just like they were just unfortunate to fall under the curse of Muzan, essentially.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Where and
And
it's
I
sorry,
go ahead.
go ahead, NikNak. You
Well, no,
go.
I was going to go into a tangent on theming, but I'll let you
Okay.
go.
I
'Cause
was
thought
just gonna I
briefly.
was just gonna say I also like in terms of like the demons, like how they're almost in a way, while they're called demons, they act more like vampires since they subsist by consuming the blood of humans rather than just like their flesh or whatever.
It's like
And how
vampires
they
with the
yeah,
needs of
they're
zombies.
like vampire yeah, they're more like vampire like.
Well, and
And
they're
also like their pale complexion for most of them or whatever, except for like the more grotesquely malformed ones or whatever, like the hand demon.
well, yeah, and I mean, I will make the comment that there are several Asian cultures with their own version of vampires. Like, I know,
Mhm.
for example, somewhere, I think in Oceania, maybe in the Philippines, there's something called a manananggal, which is, it's like a woman vampire kind of thing,
Mhm.
but also her top half and her bottom half comes like separate and her intestines hang out sometimes.
Interesting.
um because just in general, Asian vampire myths tend to be a little bit weirder than the European ones, but they
Mhm.
also tend to be a little bit more, I hesitate to say brutal, but they tend to be a little bit more scary than what we know as like Western vampire
Mhm.
Well, what we
mythology.
know as Western
Tends to be
vampire
more
mythology.
romanticized at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Like
Yeah.
very much became
because
the
of Dracula or
yeah.
whatever.
Like, you
Yeah,
think that
so
romanticizing vampires, like, and I mean the modern sense of romantic, like
yeah,
making, like, having the vampire
sparkles.
give sexy eyes at somebody. That started a lot with of popular interpretations of Dracula, more so than Twilight.
Oh yeah, and so I mean, I really enjoy kind of what they've done with the
Mhm.
demons, because in all essence, I see what you mean. Like, they are vampires. They do closely follow a lot of Asian myths of vampires, which tend to be both flesh eating and blood drinking. And
Mhm.
there were several demons that expressed a preference for either young women or just children in general. And that also features heavily in almost every single Asian vampire myth that I know of, is children or young women being the
Mhm.
focus.
Now,
Right.
if I may make a comment, when I first watched the first episode with Seki, there was a moment where I feel like she was freaking out that she thought it was more like zombie-like than vampire-like with Nezuko in the first episode.
Well,
Mm.
yeah. I mean, there was an
Oh,
element to it
but
that
there's also like the fangs that a lot of the demons have, like the
Mm-hmm.
more human looking ones.
yeah. But I mean, there is an element of like, some of them look really monstrous, and that's because they've lost a lot of their humanity, or they haven't evolved enough to regain some of
Mhm.
their humanity.
Mhm.
You could almost see like the ones that are really like disturbing and like twisted and don't have a lot of humanity left. Those ones are almost like children, like they need to like evolve and grow to regain like a little bit of like a human aspect or a more civilized or human aspect, as opposed to like they're these like monstrous beasts at the very beginning. And it's mainly because of their power level, which is a fairly common shonen trope. I mean, the stronger you get, normally the more intelligent you get, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
It's also, I mean, this entire show is, you know, a redemption show, and it's very touching. And I love Nezuko. I really love Nezuko and her just like seeing every human as like her family. Like I get that she was hypnotized into it, but that's adorable.
Yeah.
that moment where she's with Tamayo and I forget his name.
Yushiro.
Yushiro, yeah.
And she like there's that moment where she cries because she realizes that Nezuko sees her as human.
Yeah, that's adorable. Nezuko's a better judge of character than like most of the people I know.
Exactly.
I was gonna say, as far as theming goes, I feel like being a demon is supposed to be thematically parallel to trauma. Like,
yeah, I mean that seems
What?
Nothing. Keep talking.
Okay.
I mean, just in the way that the backstories are presented, like all of them are mostly like this emotional trauma, whether it be from family or from being alone. It all tends to be like that, and then there's always this like it's more like a trauma and how it can cause some people to lash out, and how that doesn't make you a bad person.
But at the same time, the show doesn't go out of the way to excuse them for when
you
they
aren't
became
excused
demons.
for your actions, but it humanizes that element of
I mean I think it's shown really clearly with the Tamari girl. I mean, at the end when she's dying, I mean, she's terrified to die, which is a very human trait. But then also at the end, she's, "Will you play with me? Will you play with me? Come
She's
play
very
with
clearly a little girl when she was turned.
Yeah. She was like a little girl, and she, you know, just wanted someone to play with her. And now she takes that out on people by throwing these balls at them and trying to murder them in a very vindictive way.
Yes.
It makes me wonder what the Arrow guy's story would have been.
Yeah, we never quite got that one.
No, we didn't hear any of it. And
like there were like some of the demons got some characterization, but also some of them kind of didn't in some areas.
Yeah, and that might have just been a pacing thing, because if they take time to characterize every last demon, it could really hold up the show.
Yeah.
So
speaking of pacing, I do want to critique the series. Shocker, I know. I feel like early on, the story's too. You start out, Tanjiro's home gets raided, and as they move on, it's like, oh, a demon turned your family. But then, like, not even 2 episodes later, only the strongest original demon could turn your family like that. Muzan, and they kind of just exposit and it almost feels like a retcon, except it was only like 2 episodes before. For me, that came off a little bit weird. Not show killing, just a little weird.
It was probably like something that maybe the author like overlooked, or maybe it just was or maybe it could have been.
It might have been in the manga. It might have been better in the manga.
Yeah, I feel like that was handled like. I have to look at the manga, so I could disprove this or prove this in all of 2 seconds. But you know that arc kind of in the like directly after the final selection arc, where he's in the town hunting down the water swamp.
Yeah.
It feels like that could have been an introduction. Like that could have been the opening arc to the manga, and then flash back.
That would have been kind of interesting.
In that. But also, don't quote me on it, because that could be I'm probably wrong on that, and I could figure that out in 5 seconds if I really wanted to.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I I mean, my problem with pacing is that I'm a spoiled little bitch who wants a 300 episode shonen. And I got 13 episodes.
Yeah, that
25, I believe.
Oh, I know, but I mean, I
26.
got 13 to watch this time. And like I said, I'm going to finish it tonight, but also, like, oh, there is not enough of this for me to binge.
You need it to have already been halfway to being.
I need this to have been, like,
well,
significantly further through. I need this to have been at, like, the length that My Hero Academia is, because that would be, like, the perfect length for me to start binging now.
yeah.
And then catch up at a good point when more is coming out. And that's not happening, and that's unfortunate. And it's not a knock on the series because
it's not
new. But I think I'm gonna have to read the manga now.
And the manga's
Which
almost
had
complete.
Better be further ahead.
It's almost done.
It's almost
Okay.
done. It's only got like a couple more chapters left in it.
How many chapters total, approximately?
I don't know.
Remember exactly.
I'll Google it real quick because I'd like to know. I mean, I'm interested.
But it's funny that you said that because I'm pretty sure the collective entirety of the current Demon Slayer fan base said that after seeing this.
Yeah.
It's almost over.
But honestly, I respect the author for like continuing to end his series where he wants it to instead of playing into the hype and trying to extend it somehow.
Yeah, because it could have been very easy, especially with it outselling One Piece in some ways this last year.
Yeah,
it could have been very easy to like just.
I mean, that's not
Boruto no
terrible.
Yaiba.
It's not terrible.
Not like every show is One Piece.
74 chapters.
Not every show needs to be One Piece or Naruto. It can be a shorter series.
And I have no problem with shorter series. Sometimes I love Itsuwaribito, and Itsuwaribito never is still only around like 100 and something chapters.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is 100 and something. It's not like that's not short necessarily. Like I've read mangas that are shorter that I really liked. So I think I will go ahead and read the manga. It's 20 volumes. That's not a lot.
Yeah.
But, I do hope that the manga runs. Normally it's more than one episode to one chapter. So I'm hoping for at least 200 episodes total.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
Maybe 3. They could squeeze 300 out of it with 174 chapters so far.
We'll see how that goes. We'll know they're turning an entire arc into a movie, so some of that might be chopped out for movies.
Also, live action movie.
Are they
Have
doing
you seen it?
Yeah.
I sent you the trailer. I sent you guys the trailer in the chat. It looks amazing.
I'll have to look at it for myself.
That's what my gasp was just now. I was looking at Muzan's page because I wanted to get some more information on him real quick, and I saw his live action cast photo.
Oh dang!
No, that's not a live action film.
Oh, is it not? What is it?
It's a live action stage production.
Oh, same thing.
Even better then.
Yeah, that's even better.
Oh,
much better.
My.
No, the Japanese stage productions of animes are really good. I am in love with the Prince of Tennis one. I have memorized the entire first musical in Japanese.
Yes, I know.
It's amazing. So I'm super happy. I've seen the musicals for like Naruto, Oran, Prince of Tennis, like all of them. They're really good.
Almost through, I think.
I think characters are next.
Oh god,
yeah,
this is gonna be so long.
Waifu Wars! Waifu Wars!
Okay. Vorn, which no one is your waifu?
Do I have to?
Oh my god, Vorn. If you don't want to do it, don't do it.
Fine. Blacksmith.
I love him.
Oh, yes. Blacksmith is a hilarious character.
He gets a better scene later on, but he's amazing even here.
Yeah, that's it. I'm sorry. I just, as I said, I don't hate the series. I don't like the series.
Yeah.
Seki,
yeah.
How about you go? Since Rome and I have seen it, so I want to get all the blind ones first.
Ooh. I mean, at the moment, Muzan. Yeah.
Respectable.
Yeah. No, I mean, at the moment, he's my favorite character, so.
NikNak, you want to go now?
Not really, but I'm gonna have to.
Just go.
I'm gonna go Tamayo, actually.
Hmm.
I generally just like her,
Lady Tomiyo's character, yeah.
Yeah, I generally just like that the dynamic she has with Nezuko and Tanjiro.
Yeah, that is a pretty cool one. I'm honestly also gonna go with Seki and go with Muzan. He's definitely up there for me.
He sludgified a woman. I love him.
Hmm
Like turned her into bloody jello.
I can
My
just
favorite thing
hear
about
Smooth
Muzan
Criminal.
is that the fan base has started calling him the Demon King of Pop.
Yeah, I can just hear Smooth
Okay.
Criminal play every time
You've
he
been hit
enters the
by-
scene.
You've been struck by a smooth criminal.
You've been hit by, you've been struck by a copyright strike. Out of the waifus, is there any characters or character moments that really got somebody?
On the mountain during the final selection, that got me.
Usually all of the ending of the when Tanjiro kills the demon and it gives you the small backstory for them for the major ones. Those were just they would get me kind of moments, but then it would move on usually.
Zenitsu protected Nezuko.
Oh,
that was an
at
awesome
the very end.
moment.
I love that moment as well.
Yeah.
Where, because this entire arc he's built up as just this complete coward, and towards the end you start to see that he's not a complete coward.
Also, he does sleep foo. It's not drunken fist, but sleep foo.
Yeah.
Crouching Moron, hidden
We
badass.
need a new name
Yeah.
for this.
Yeah, crouching moron, hidden badass.
You get even more of Zenitsu in the next part, so you'll be looking forward to that, Seki.
Well, no,
I actually hate
what the
him.
next arc is.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, he is completely annoying most of the time.
He is very annoying most of the time because he acts so pathetic most of the time.
NikNak has informed me that the next episode has more from Pighead.
Yes. Oh, I love Pig.
So I'm
I love Piggy
interested
Boy.
in learning about Pighead Boy.
They're all kind of annoying by themselves. They really work best when they're all together in the group, I noticed.
Yeah, they all have to be. That is the problem with them, is that they only have a good group dynamic. They suck as characters otherwise outside of it.
Like Pig Boy, this entire arc is sitting there trying to kill anything that has a pulse, walking on the children.
Yeah.
He's failing also.
All right. So we're done now, or do we have Vorn? Do you want to say something?
Not really.
Okay.
You guys did say pretty much about the demons parts, but yeah, that's it for me.
All right.
All right, moving on. Let's make this brief. Tropes. Did anyone have any tropes they wanted to point out?
Crouching moron, hidden badass.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
In the form of the
Hidden mastermind.
Yeah. I guess that could work, but he's not really hidden if he was able to find him so easily.
Yeah, that's not really hidden necessarily. Everyone knows he's there, just no one's strong enough.
You could just say evil mastermind, I guess.
Yeah.
You could just say evil mastermind.
I mean, he's basically, so my immediate thought looking at him was not Michael Jackson, it was, oh look, the head of the local mob.
Yes.
Yakuza!
I think that's what they were going for, but
just the color scheme. I don't know if that was intentional from the artist, but if it was, then good on them, honestly.
What was that? Sister Complex.
Yeah. Oh my god, when Yusha says that she's not pretty.
Yeah.
Oh god, that was hilarious.
Revenge beauty contest!
Yeah.
She is beautiful!
Yeah.
That was adorable. Especially it is platonic. It's not creepy.
There's nothing creepy about it. It's just
I'm glad they have an anime. Go ahead. Sorry.
It was just adorable because it was just him complimenting her, but with nothing creepy in between.
Yeah. Pure wholesome.
It was an actually wholesome anime sibling relationship.
Yeah.
They exist.
Yes, they exist.
Also, there's a specific trope that fits Lady Tamoyo, which is, the bad guy turning
good.
Bad guy improving themselves and turning to do something good. I mean, I liked Lady Tamoyo. I think she was really cool.
Yeah, I really liked her and Yushido, their story, how Lady Tamino, if someone's about to die from a terminal illness, she'll offer them the chance to be a demon if they want to continue to live.
Yeah. Also, anime shonen training tropes. You
Oh,
know,
yeah. Lots of
999, 1000, do 500 more. Also, like training in like
Yeah.
super low like air and that is just shonen training
Mm.
101. Low air, thousands of repetitions, working till his hands were bleeding.
Yeah.
Actually, Genius of Hard Work fits him
Yeah.
almost.
I love the part where they just kind of in that shonen training arc where they just kind of shove it, where Uroku Daki shoves him off a cliff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Like-
shonen training. My favorite shonen trope.
Other tropes, I'd say villain with tragic backstory, or in this case, villains.
With family.
Yeah.
Also, villain with family who is
I love how
innocent.
they kind of reverse that trope from Muzan, where instead of giving you the completely evil Muzan first, they give you the humanity
Father.
and then make him more hated as you go, like as soon as that's over.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like instead of making him hated and then humanity, it's humanity then hated.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I haven't seen a whole ton, but to me it just seems like he's protecting his family and his way of life and his power.
Good man doing bad things. Got it.
We'll move
I
on.
will watch the rest of it later and read it.
Mm-hmm.
But
Moving
for
on.
now,
Moving
good
on.
man doing bad things.
No, I get that. That was definitely my interpretation when I first watched the series too.
With that being said, though, let's finish up.
I
Yeah.
feel there's definitely something under that good man vibe.
Okay. So spoiler, like last thoughts. Let's start with Vorn, since I know you had some spoiler thoughts that you couldn't let out, and we haven't heard much from you.
Yeah, I don't enjoy these kind of stories where it's not the revenge portion of the story. I'm fine with revenge portion, but like how you like the timing and the spacing of it was like really not that great for me as well. I really didn't like that.
Was it because 2 years passed during the training arc?
Yes, in like freaking one episode or so.
Like 2.
Yeah, that
Hey,
was like what the
You
hell?
see, Vorn, I'm just gonna make a comment here real quick. That was like kind of the thing that I like about it, because it while it was, yes, it didn't give a lot of like it didn't give a lot of filler in between, essentially, like what happened, but essentially enough to the point where it doesn't really matter for me. So I like generally those stories that have like much shorter pacing. That's honestly like why I kind of like Get Backers as much as I did, because it A, took its world seriously, B, it had just enough pacing that reveals to you information at a right time and pace, so that way I can absorb it and not need to know as much more or whatever. And there was one other thing, but I can't remember what it was. It was probably just like the rest of the setting and how the characters fit into it.
Oh no, what I wanted more was like maybe a quick time montage, like of all of that, like at least part of what is going on, but like
He wanted more than just a
yeah.
comment that like
Yeah.
Nezuko's been asleep for a year and a half now, which was our only sense of time. Because it didn't
Yeah.
actually say anything about time other than referring to how long Nezuko had been asleep for, or that kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Well,
So
it's a
there
little bit
wasn't.
harder to do that in anime, because probably there it was like 2 years, 3 or 1 year, 1 year and a month. They probably did that. In anime, it's a little bit harder to do that without literally writing that at the bottom. That's why they went with that almost journal-like approach for Tanjiro, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, and that's fair. It's just I have seen them do something with a little bit more of like a and sometimes the montage style in a shonen, right, with the training arc, makes it feel like it's over a longer period of time because it's montage style and there's shots of so many things happening.
Yeah, it's
Right.
either
As opposed to just
montage
the-
or
You know what they
flashback.
You know what they could have done? Like they could have like put the montage, like they kind of like that weird like faded stacking effect where basically they have like one scene playing over the other, but both scenes are kind of like blurry or whatever, where you could have like one scene where Tanjiro is like tripping over the rope into one of the pits, and then or one where he gets his ankle caught on like a rope or something and pulled up to a tree or something like that together. I don't know, I'm just giving some examples.
Yeah,
That might.
I think the short of the matter is just a few more images than
Yeah.
they would have made it feel like it took longer. But that's enough about that, I think, if we're going with final thoughts.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, pretty much the story it doesn't blend well with what I like. So, yeah.
What do you like out of curiosity? Briefly, very briefly.
Snafu. He likes snafu.
I like
Okay, defend.
more emotional things that like you can read into a bit more. Long also have much more development, and this it it felt like you were kind of railroading somebody straight through. Like you know how we in D&D we play, but it doesn't feel like we're quite literally being railroad down a single path. We actually have kind of multiple paths to go down.
Do you not think I'm not railroading you down a single path by making it look like it's multiple paths?
Oh no, you definitely are
Everyone
railroading it,
knows the
but
way
you at
we
least
think.
cover the fuck up. This thing doesn't even feel like it's trying to even cover the fucking thing up at all.
You don't
Okay,
think
but
that king was supposed to die the way he did,
So,
did you?
so Vorn. My problem is, I think if you offered more options in an anime like this that has like kind of a plot and a goal and a quest, you're going to end up with something like Amagami SS, where you have to explore all the different options.
Oh no,
Because
what?
if you offer too many options, then there's too many things for the characters to do, and there's too many options, and some of them just don't fit like the character that you've built up. And if you need to build your character to a certain climax, there's not a whole lot of detours that they can take feasibly.
Okay, no, here's the thing. What I kind of like though is more like, yeah, you have a goal, but there's multiple routes to said goal right there.
But
So you like the fate effect.
Yes, that.
but you just can't do that in like a long running shonen.
That's the kind of
There's
thing.
already too much. Like this is 174 chapters. If you offered more options, it's
This
just
is
not
this is
feasible.
the kind of thing you play a visual novel for.
Yeah.
This is kind of thing of like, okay, you have the main storyline, and then everything else is just fanfic, which like technically could be tied in and made canon if you wanted it to be. It's more like what I'm thinking.
You wanted to extend it like a heavily built upon universe that could be extended multiple different directions.
Yep.
So basically, okay, but the only anime you're really gonna get that out of is like slice of lifestyle stuff.
Fate does it a lot too.
Yeah, but I think
Yeah.
Fate is kind of an exception. Most anime
Yeah.
don't create an extended universe with like 15 shows
Well, it doesn't necessarily
and
have to create.
100 games.
I kind of get what he means, where it doesn't have to create 15 shows, but it has to feel like other things could be going on in that same universe. Like Hiroaka, there are other stories besides just the one you're getting.
Oh yeah, but you're not
Yeah.
like it.
I know it's very hard to
not-
convey that, and I don't quite agree with Vorn that this show doesn't have that. But I get.
Well, and I think also this genre doesn't lend itself to shonen. Generally, doesn't lend itself to like options and a whole ton of side stories. Shonen is fairly protagonist centric. It's usually a redemption or a revenge story or a finding who they are story. And the protagonist needs to get from point A to point B, and he needs to do like these 5 formulaic things that are fairly, common.
Almost hero's journey-esque.
Yeah, I mean that's what shonen is. So I think the problem here is just that this is not the ideal genre for Vorn.
Yeah.
Well,
He's just not going to find his style of show necessarily in this genre unless it's kind of a standout.
Because I know, Vorn, you liked like the series, like the Irregular Magical High School Index. I think that's what the one show was called.
Yeah.
So, and that's not like any, like it has like a shonen style to it, almost like, at least in terms of art style, but it's like very much not paced like a shonen. It's very much paced like a slice of life.
Yeah. Which also let it develop a bit more. And the mostly what I think of it, I want something like a little bit more thought put into it, not like, oh, go from point A to point B. Like,
You see, I think that's more.
But I don't think there's a lack of thought put into it. I think that the thought just isn't directed in the ways that you want it to be. I think that rather than build up character development for side characters that is not necessary because they don't come in that often, they put more development towards main characters and main villains and kind of neglect side characters in shonen. And I think you're looking for something more all around so that you can look
Where
at
like every
characters.
character has meaning, basically. Is that what you mean, Vorn? Like not
Yeah,
just kind of
like
Yeah.
throw away. Yeah.
like you actually have like side characters, then you have like background side characters, then you just have true background fucking random canon fodder.
I kind of what
Yeah.
you're describing there. It's like you're almost describing Fate Zero there, from what I'm getting.
Yeah, and I like Fate Zero. I like
Oh
the
no,
Fate
I do
series.
too. I see exactly what you're saying, and I see what you're looking for. I'm just not sure that you find that all that often in most shonen,
That's not a common shonen.
because
I
shonen
think
tends to be
this
more
guys,
travel based.
guys, I think this episode's gonna be our longest one yet.
Oh no, Snappy was
it won't
long.
be. And B, we actually have 2 large chunks to cut out, and I actually started recording way before we started talking.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Okay,
We
so
do actually have a buffer. We didn't actually start talking at 8:30.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
moving on,
let's-
I think I get what Vorn is saying. I think generally I disagree in some elements, but I can see exactly why he has a problem with it.
I
um,
just think that it's not a problem that he has an issue with it. I mean, everyone has their own tastes.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you look at shonen across the board, that is not something you find. I would challenge you to find more than 1 or 2 outstanding shonen that have
Right.
anything similar to that. Because
Full Metal
shonen,
Alchemist is the only one coming to mind here.
and even Full Metal Alchemist borders the line sometimes. Like
Yeah.
it can be more of other genres depending on the time you're watching the show. So I think in this case it might just be a genre thing.
yeah,
I-
it's pretty much that. Actually, no. Let's quickly finish this up for at least my section, so I can give my rating, and we can get to you guys.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Because
feel like
we
you're
are
not-
going so long right now.
So Vorn, go ahead and give your
Yeah.
rating, and we'll move on quicker.
Yeah, I really shouldn't rate this, but, well, I'm still going to. I give this a 5 out of 10. I can't really recommend this to people because, well, it's just not something I really enjoy. But I
I mean,
can
if you can't
only see
recommend it to
people
yourself,
other
it's hard to
enjoying
recommend
it.
to other people.
So, yeah. So, next person,
All right, let's go Seki.
quickly.
I mean, I liked it. I didn't think I would, but I did like it. I'm disappointed at the length, but I understand that is in flux and will improve, so I can deal like a big grown-up girl. I won't turn around and throw a tantrum when I finish episode 26.
And at the very least, we'll know that this series will actually have a finished anime since it's so
Yeah.
short.
Well, and the other thing is, I do, like I said, I've said this I think 2 times already, but this really, really reminds me of Rurouni Kenshin, and like a good part of that is the setting, but a decent part of that is also just the concept. Really reminds me of Rurouni Kenshin, like the whole idea of the show, a lot of the theming, just reminds me of Rurouni Kenshin so much, and I love Rurouni Kenshin, and it's definitely going to be relatively soon in our recording schedule if I have anything to say about it, because now that I've seen this, I do want to get it in there as my next submission.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's great. I think to me it just feels like a slightly more modern version of an old show that I loved, a more
I
modern.
probably would like Rurouni Kenshin then if I like Demon Slayer.
Yeah. So, and like, I love the shonen tropes, that kind of thing, the training arc, all of that. And I mean, I get what Vorn says. Like, I do tend to like background characters as well, but I like background characters in shows like One Piece where there's 1,000 episodes. So if there's 5 episodes on a background character, it could still be a filler arc because there's so many episodes. I mean, I'd give it like a good 9 out of 10. The only reason I wouldn't give it a 10 is because it's just currently not long enough for me to sink my teeth into as an anime.
Mm-hmm.
And most people will not listen to me when I say read the manga.
I'm pretty sure based off the manga sales numbers, they don't have to listen to you.
Oh, yes, but most people I recommend it to would not agree to that,
Yeah.
Like, they don't trust my recommendations. Which, fuck you all. I recommend good anime.
Reborn.
We'll get
Shut up. Shut up. NikNak, your turn.
Um, okay, so for me, the show, there's a lot of moving parts here that you've heard me shill too much. That's why I won't shill anymore. But because of that, the show was kind of guaranteed to be loved by me. It was just the story had to stick, and I do, even though I understand where Vorn's coming from, the story does really stick for me because it's a lot of that. I love me a good samurai story, and this comes damn close to being a good samurai story. Like a good samurai. It's a good story, but it's almost samurai, kind of, sort of. So, yeah, for me, gosh, I rated it on Mal, but I'm pretty sure I gave it like an 8 out of 10. But I feel like I'm just, if I were grading on the Seki scale, probably a 9 out of 10.
All
I
right.
mean, but like I said, the only reason I deducted a point is a reason that is in flux and in the process of being fixed.
All right, Realm.
Nezuko is great. The story is great. The characters are great. It takes its world seriously. I love it. 11 Nezuko head pats out of 10 Nezuko head pats.
Can I assume this will be brought back up eventually soon for the remaining part of the series?
Definitely.
Oh,
If I remember this part of the recording, that is.
I will remind you.
Okay, good.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, Seki. Given what the next arc is, you might not want to remind him.
I mean, I'm gonna watch it on my own anyways, like I did with Overlord.
Now,
All right.
the question will be if you want to watch it again. Like, you might still like the series, but you might not like that arc.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I'm giving you that warning now.
Either
Personally,
way,
me to you.
either way, that would appear to be all for now.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Quickly, it's going to be a little confusing here, but the next series we will be watching, this after the next episode, will be Snafu and Death Parade.
Death Parade.
Yeah.
The next
Parade.
episode,
season
though, is
2 specifically.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the next episode will be Prince of Tennis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ecchi's and Sama.
Denis no
Oh
Oji-sama.
my gosh. Oh.
With that being said, remember, try harder, everyone.
All right. So we're done.
Yeah.